So it's time for our story. So if you remember last time we read a chapter, the teacher, Mrs MacDonald, had put her guinea pig into school and he had got very fat and all the students wanted to stroke him. But Mrs MacDonald was not having any of that. So the next part of our chapter is called Good Man. We'd been working for about half the lessons. I'd written 2 paragraphs. Gamble, who insisted on sitting next to me, had finished in 3 minutes. His letter read, "Dear stupid cow, you mess with Mrs MacDonald's pet rat again and I'll smash your face in. Love, Darren." That's a bit rude, isn't it? That's not a very nice letter at all. He was now picking bogies out of his nose, rolling them into ball and placing them on the inside of the table in a neat little row. Ooh, who could have thought that bogies could be neat? Miss Clegg was staring out of the window, pretending she wasn't listening to music through an earphone. Jane was already on her 3rd page. She hadn't even looked at me since Gamble pinched her doughnut. Meanwhile, Mrs MacDonald showed no interest in any of us. She was standing over the guinea pig cage, pushing Mr Wiggles' fat rear end back into his exercise wheel whenever he tried to get off it. At this point, Mr Noblet came in. Mr Noblet is our head teacher. My word, what a name. He's friendly and enthusiastic and everybody likes him, even though he has a moustache and wears socks and sandals instead of shoes. "Hi guys, sorry for invading your space," said Mr Noblet. "Mind if I whiz an idea past you all?" "Oh, if you must," says Mrs MacDonald, closing the door of the cage and posting a piece of lettuce through the bars. Mr Noblet gave her a thumbs up. "So, every year, after the tests are finished, we get Year 6 to host a tea party for some senior citizens from the retirement home down the road." A few people shuffled in their chairs. He laughed. "Don't worry, they don't bite." "One of them did last year," said Miss Clegg. "Well, yes," said Mr Noblet, "but they've promised not to bring her this time. Anyway, it's a wonderful chance to show off how great you all are. We'd love a few people to help Mrs MacDonald to organise it." "Oh, like I haven't got enough on my plate," moaned Mrs MacDonald. Mr Noblet clapped his hands. "Come on, guys, who's going to do something amazing today?" Everybody suddenly became very interested in their shoes. "Anybody?" Very slowly, Jane's hand went up. Will there be money to spend on snacks?" I thought I had a sneaky suspicion of what she was up to." Mr Noblet tilted his head slightly. "And, what do you need to know?" "To give the old people a really lovely time," she continued. "Oh, that's a very kind thought," said Mr Noblet. "Of course the school will provide plates of biscuits for them." Jane thought for a moment and then glanced very quickly at me. "I think I'd like to do it," she said. There was a funny look on her face, like a person who just remembered where they'd left an entire family bag of Monster Munch. Rosie Taylor screwed up her face and shoved her hand up as well. I don't think she really wanted to do it, but she doesn't like it when other people are in charge of things. Then, next to me, Gamble's hand went up too. "Just the 2 of you?" said Mrs MacDonald, scanning the room. "3, miss," said Gamble, bouncing around. Mrs MacDonald spoke over him. "Only 2 girls? What about a boy?" Gamble was straining so much he looked like his neck might explode. "I'm a boy, miss. Over here, miss. I'll cook for 'em, miss." Mr Noblet looked over to Gamble. "Yes, what about trust me, Keith. Don't even go there," Mrs MacDonald said sharply. "Yeah, we want to feed them, not poison them," muttered Miss Clegg. Gamble pushed back his chair and crawled under his table for a sulk. "Is there anyone else?" sighed Mr Noblet. "Roman'll do it," said Jane. What? I said. Normally, I try not to get involved in, well, anything really. Mr Noblet squinted. Which one's Roman? Unbelievable! I know I'm pretty good at keeping my head down at school, but come on, I've been coming here for 7 years. I raised my hand. Mr Noblet nodded as though suddenly remembering who I was. Oh, great to have you on board if you're keen. I was about to say not really when Jane piped up. He told me he'd love to, she said. Did I say that? Why was she involving me in this? Yes, I remember, she winked. Then she dropped her voice to a whisper. There'll be snacks and we can spend some time together. I tried to smile, my face burning as everyone in the class stared at me. That sounds good. I really wasn't sure this was exactly good or not. Plus, you owe me one, she said. This was definitely not good. I don't want Roman to help, said Rosie. Him and Jane will spend the whole time eating donuts and planning their wedding. Mr Noblet acted as if he hadn't heard and gave me a double thumbs up. Good man for volunteering, Roland. Roman, I said, as Mr Noblet left the room. Jane rubbed her hands together and then went back to her work. The room was quiet again, apart from the sound of Mr Wiggles eating his lettuce and Gamble gnawing on a table leg. Right, that's the end of that chapter, and tomorrow's chapter is called -50 Donuts. I'll see you then.